Hey y'all, jump on real quick with me as I am preparing for I'm cooking right now. I'm making smoked turkey neck peanut bags, and in the bag I have smoked turkey, potatoes, corn, sausages, and some turkey tips. I just added those today just to fulfill it, but I jumped on real quick to talk to you guys about domestic violence. I want to talk about it. I don't mean to step on anybody's toes or anything like that, but I want to talk about domestic violence. Last year, this month, I finally opened up to the world and began to discuss the fact that I was a domestic violence survivor. Yes. A lot of times when people are going through domestic violence issues, it's hard to explain to other people why you're going through what you're going through, because people don't really understand domestic violence. They really don't. They really don't. They don't explain it. They don't understand it. And they'll say things to you like, oh, you should just leave, or oh, if it was me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know if anybody can hear me, because last time nobody could hear me. Make sure I turn this up. Yep, it's turned up. Can y'all hear me? Anyway, like I was saying, when you're in a situation, a domestic violence situation, a lot of times people like to say, you know, little things like, if I was you, I would do this. This would never happen to me. Blah, 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 blah. However, it's a horse of another color when you're the person that's being abused. You can't explain to other people. You just can't. You just can't. What is the gravitational pull that's making you stay when you want to leave? As crazy as it sounds and as stupid as you look, you still will stay in that situation. You'll stay. I got married to this man in 2012. Rumors had it that he was abusive. Now, the way he and I hooked up was he was married and I was married. We had an affair. We decided to divorce our spouses and get married. Now, word on the street was this dude was really abusive to his previous wife, but I just didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because of his appearance. But once I married him, and he was a pastor, I began to see what everybody was talking about. He was abusive. He was very abusive to me. Physically. And I didn't come from a household where there was abuse. My daddy never abused my mama. I came from a very good upbringing. So that wasn't something that, you know, like, I was beat up I seen people getting beat up all the time, so I was accustomed to being around that. I really didn't know how to respond because it was weird. Like, I didn't know that people do stuff like that. So, here I am, the first lady of the church, the praise and worship leader, and on the first and third weekends, I'm getting jumped on. I mean, like, jumped on. Finally, in 2018, we got married in 2012. 2018, I had kind of like a nervous breakdown because he had been having an affair with his now wife, which was my sister-in-law. And he left. And when he left, I had a nervous breakdown, like a full-fledged nervous breakdown. Okay? I mean, a real nervous breakdown. And I had to call my parents. And when my parents came in, I began to share with them everything that was happening to me. I began to share with them the abuse and how he was abusing me. Not knowing that he and I was going to get back together. Now I done told all our business, but we finna get back together. So that made things awkward because I let everybody in on our secret. If you just jumping on, I'm celebrating this month, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Last year, this time, I made my first YouTube video about the elephant in my room, domestic violence. And I began to share my story, and I have been free since then. I mean, I have been free since then. Domestic violence is real. It's hard to explain to others when you're in a situation like that. Nobody understands why you're there, why you can't leave, because to other people, you just put on your shoes, get your stuff, and you leave. That's how people view it. Like, you just leave. Just leave. You just leave. I would leave. He would be hitting me. He would be doing that. That's what people say until you're in the situation. What I learned from that situation is one of the reasons why I didn't leave was because of my pride. Number one, I told you earlier, he and I got together from an affair. We divorced our spouses and we married one another. And I did not want it to be said that what everybody in the community was saying about, oh, she gonna reap what she sow. Oh, he gonna do the same thing to her. I just didn't want that to be my truth. Because he and I had kind of made like a little pact that, you know, we reap what we sow. But as long as we sowing it in God, you know, he won't put more on us than we can bear and blah, 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 blah. Trying to make ourselves feel okay about the sin that we had committed. So when I began to see the very things that I did to his wife happen to me, the abuse that she was talking about, the affair that she was talking about, all this stuff, I started to see it. And it was hard for me to admit it. But I got liberated last year. I made my first video, like I told you guys. Go to my YouTube channel, LaShonda Cherie, The Elephant in the Room, Domestic Violence. I am a domestic violence survivor. 2020, let's get on with it. I'm cooking. In 2020, a situation arose and we got into no, we didn't get into nothing. He jumped on me. But this time, it was more violent and scary than before. And I tell people this story all the time and I'm making it up. I began to see his face shift. Like I could see his face was shifting. It was a spirit that just took over and his face was shifting. The spirit of rage had overtaken him. Please like and share. Please share it. Had taken over him and he was trying to break my neck. I felt myself sinking into a dark place and I started to tell myself, God, he finna kill me. I'm finna die. He finna kill me this time. And I said, God, if you would allow me to live, I promise you I would let it go. That's what I said. That's what I told the Lord. And right then he released me and he ran outside. I'm all upset, trying to remain calm so my daughter won't be alert. Long story short, all of this happened and we got back together the month afterwards. The violence stopped because this time, everybody in my town knew about it because my father stepped in and he called the police. I didn't have the strength to call the police. He called the police. So it's like everybody knew what was going on. It went from verbal, from physical violent abuse to now you emotionally abusing me now. You know, my feelings and stuff is all up in the order. I have never been so sick in my body when I was in this relationship. Domestic violence not only affects you women, your insides, it makes you sick. I had anxiety. I was depressed. I gained so much weight. That video that's on my timeline about me being big like that, baby, that was me suffering. My outside looked like what was going on in the inside of me. Baby, I was a mess. I was crying out for help and did not know how to let it go. I did not know how to let this relationship go, even though it was hurting me. Because I did not want it to be said that I reaped what I sowed. Long story short, we got back together for about a year. And then, you know, if you're in an abusive relationship, that person really gives you 190% after the first incident. Like, they're your best friend, they're your confidant, they're trying to console you, they're trying to make sure that you're okay. They're doing all of these things initially, but you know it ain't gonna last long. And he started, going back to his old ways. Long story short, May 2021, God used him. And I couldn't see it until I got healed. But God used him to free me. He went and filed for divorce. I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I didn't have words. There was no words. There was no words. That was on, I got my paperwork May the 28th, 29th, because Memorial Day was that next day. And I made a vow to myself that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it through this. I'm going to love again. I'm going to be stronger. My next husband, I'm still going to be able to give him 100%. Now, like I said, God used him to free me. But at first, I couldn't receive it like that because I was, still trying to process all these feelings and emotions that I was going through. And when somebody's abusing you, they start making you feel guilty for you being abused. That's that narcissistic energy where they're trying to make you be, you're the victim, but they want to be the victim to get the blame off of them. Gave my paperwork, he set me free. June came along, and I had a prophetic dream. And if you go through my videos, you're going to hear this whole story over again. I'm just sharing it with you guys because this month makes a year of me telling the world that I'm a survivor. And I'm just excited to be alive. I had a dream in May 2021. And June the 4th, God told me to reach out to this woman of God and that she was going to interpret this dream for me. She did not know what was going on in my marriage. I mean, people in my community knew, from that he was abusive and things like that. But he didn't know. She didn't know what was going on. And she interpreted this dream for me. And she told me that God said you made him a promise. And he kept his end of the bargain. What she was saying was, when I told God that if he would release me, that I would release him. If he would stop choking me and give me and allow me to breathe again, God, I let it go. God did that. But I got back up and attached myself to the person that was hurting me. So she said, God said, you didn't keep your promise. He kept his promise. And he said, this time, if you want to live, you can't go back. Baby, listen to him. Honey, if the taste ain't never been slapped out somebody's mouth for something, that very moment, the taste was slapped out my mouth. The desire to want to try to talk about it or get back together, anything, it was just slapped out my mouth at that moment because I want to live. And it gave me peace because the whole time we had, reconciled with one another, I just couldn't get over that particular time. There had been several times of him being violent. But this particular time, I felt like you wanted to end me. It felt different. It was very demonic. And I always, when I would be by myself, and I would be, you be talking to yourself. Anybody talk to themselves? When I would be in the shower talking to myself about the situation, I would always say, he really was trying to kill you. He don't love you. He would have took you away from your children. And he would have went on by his life and he would be okay with himself. And you did. And I just kept saying that over and over again, like, he don't like you. This dude don't like you for real. And when the woman of God told me what the Lord said, that if you want to live, you can't go back, I said, my spirit was right. He really could have killed me and have the strength and the capacity to kill me, and he'll be okay with this stuff. So, why am I on here today? I want to encourage you, if you're in a domestic violence situation, not to be ashamed. I was ashamed because he was a pastor. And people were saying so much bad things about him. I just did not want people to be talking about my husband like that, number one. Don't be talking about my husband like that. That's how I felt. So I covered up for him because I didn't want his truth to be exposed. I did all of that for him, but I didn't do anything for myself. I got sicker. I had so much anxiety. And I mean, I know you be thinking, like, when people say they got anxiety, it's like a white person, excuse me, no harm, like, that sounds like something you need to, that black people just don't deal with. But I had anxiety. I had it bad. I was always anxious. I was always on edge, thinking that, you know, what he doing? I didn't have no peace. I'm always looking over my shoulder, looking at his phone. What he over there doing? You know, trying to go in the bathroom and like I'm trying to get the toothpaste and stuff out the bathroom just to see what he doing on while you on the toilet that long. Like that was the most drainingest relationship I've ever been in. And I thank Jesus the day that he filed for divorce, because I was a dummy and I could not let it go. I couldn't. So if you're in a domestic violence situation, reach out to somebody. I'm in you see my shirt, it says Wives on Fire. I'm a part of a wife club, wife CEO club, where a group of women get together and support each other. My mentor told us that this woman husband had killed her and himself. You never know what people got going on behind closed doors. Who would have ever thought that the jewel couple going everywhere singing, dressing alike, taking all these pictures, who would have ever thought that behind closed doors? Hey, she said I'm talking her story. Just got out to keep in touch with me, please. Oh, wow. See, who would have ever thought that this beautiful couple was going through all of this drama behind scenes? And when I was afraid to talk about it to other people, because people judge you harshly. They judge you real bad when you start telling that your husband, especially your husband, your pastor husband, beating you up. Oh, just leave. If I was you, I'd just leave. No, you wouldn't. 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 You would not. You would do the same thing I was over there doing, looking crazy, trying to make it work. If you know somebody that's in a domestic violence situation, instead of you know, being judgmental towards those people, we need, not now, I ain't talking about we now, but people need prayer. People need support groups. People need other people that they feel comfortable and safe enough to share the hurt and the pain that they're going through. They need an escape route. You need somebody that done been in something that can help you get out. That's why I'm a wife. I am a divorce coach. This is I've been divorced twice, and this is my third marriage. Yeah, I'm a divorce coach. You're going through a divorce right now, I'll walk you through it. I'll hold your hand. I'll be your prayer partner. I love on you. I encourage you, because when I was going through this situation, God surrounded me with strong women that was doing that. Exactly what I'm telling you, they was doing that for me. They was praying for me. They was supporting me. They was loving on me. They weren't judging me. My family really, really, they didn't understand it, because they felt like I was choosing him over them. And I was just lost and I was confused. I understand. Yep. We cover up our depression and anxiety. And honey, baby, one thing I can do, I can put on some makeup. So you wouldn't have known that I was going through all this unless I told you. But last year, this time, I went on YouTube. I made my video. I'm a domestic violence survivor, the elephant in my room. And I had to learn that I'm not talking about him. Because that's how I used to be like, ooh, you talking about him. I am not talking about you. I'm talking about my experience with you. The care that how you didn't take care of me when I was in your care. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about what I'm talking about. The word said that we overcome by the words of our testimony. This is my testimony. I couldn't talk about it when I was in it because that wasn't my testimony. I hadn't overcome. But I'm an overcomer, so I can talk about it without talking about you. Because it's the truth anyhow, and it's my truth. And I chose last year not to be ashamed, not to be afraid of the backlash of me saying that I'm married to a pastor and he beating the hell out of me. That was my truth. And the moment I stood in it, I'm talking about the moment I stood in it, I got so much freedom and so much peace. I felt such a release when I finished making that video. I just felt so at peace. I'm cooking. I'm having a not a crab boil, a turkey, peanuts. I'm selling peanuts today. So I put eggs and turkey necks, potatoes and corn and shrimp in it if that's what they want. So that's what I'm doing. But I just jumped on here really quick to encourage you if you're going through a domestic violence situation. Yep, they hurt your feelings. They exactly. People don't understand when you're in a domestic violence situation. They start getting mad at you. They start getting mad at the victim, like, just leave. It's not that simple. Sugarfoot. It's not that simple. I got stuff invested in this maniac. And we be thinking we can save these people. But we have to learn to save ourselves. God created a situation for me. But he set me free. He set me free. And I thank God for that. I didn't understand it at the beginning. It didn't feel good. But I thank God for freedom. And I vowed. I go to therapy too because I wanted to know. I needed some clarification on, little girl, why did you let this dude do this to you? This is not how you was raised. Your dad ain't never touched your mama. You ain't never been around no violent stuff like this. So why is you letting this man beat you down? I needed to know why my esteem was so low that I would submit myself and subject myself to such kind of treatment. And that's why I went to therapy. That's why I stayed in the face of God. That's why I surrounded myself with women, strong women, with strong marriages. And I kept speaking over myself. You go back and look at my timeline. I kept saying, but I don't care what this look like. God, you created me to be a wife. And by the end of 2022, my husband gonna find me. And when he find me, I ain't gonna be broke down. I ain't gonna be crying about this other person. I'm gonna be healed. So I started working on preparing myself and prepping myself to move on. I wanted to be wanted too, and I wanted him to want me. Because I felt like I gave up so much for us to be together. I left for marriage. And in this marriage, my other marriage, it might not have been the best, but I was taken care of financially. Over here, I got to take care of everything financially. That was burdensome. So I just had a lot going on. I gave up a lot. So it wasn't that easy for me to give this up. Even though I know I needed to give it up. It wasn't so easy for me to give it up though. So God used him to set me free. And then in January, my husband found me. My husband found me. My husband, the band, he found me. Had I stayed, he wouldn't have found me because I would have been still locked up. in that situation. But I don't get off point. I'm here again to encourage you. If you're in a domestic violence situation, if your loved ones is in a domestic violence situation, find a better way to talk to them, a better way to help them. It's always a better way. Don't be talking about them. Don't be making them feel bad because they stay there, because you mentally and emotionally, your stuff be all over the place. You can't explain this to other people. But I know, because I was there. Just leave. I can't. I want to. He hurt me, but I love him. I love this monster. I loved. So that's why I couldn't leave. But in the end, God surrounded me with people that supported my decision to stay, and didn't make me feel like I was a loser because I didn't leave. And everything that I thought that I lost, God gave me double for my trouble. My family embraced me and accepted me and began to love on me. They treated me like I had never left. And I had been gone for a minute. This relationship was all consuming. When I got through with this relationship, baby, I used to be asking myself, like, girl, what you like to eat? What you like to do? What you like to watch on TV? When we would go to the store, I don't even remember going on a rat looking for me anything. It was just all about this other person. So I had to learn me. I had to, like you're saying, I had to start over, and I had to learn to love me. And I didn't know me. I didn't know nothing about me. All I knew is that I was hurt. I started doing some soul searching with the therapy and things, and I began to realize where the hurt started. And I was able to deal with it. I was able to deal with a lot of things. A lot of things. Again, I just want to encourage you. If you're in a domestic violence situation, there's help. There's help. You're not alone. That's right. She got this. You're not alone. There's help. Reach out. But remember that you got to overcome. Girl, I'm going to be praying for you because it's hard. Like I was saying, people don't understand. They don't understand. They'll judge you, but they don't be understanding that it's not that easy. You done invested years, time, tears, dreams, all this stuff into a person that's hurting you, and you love them. You love the person that's hurting you. It's crazy. Yeah, you have to. You have to encourage them. You have to. Yes, we're more than a conqueror. Even with the verbal, I would tell him after, my situation, and it was exposed the way it was exposed. You weren't passing no more lips. So then you became the aggressor with your words, cussing, and just you're a pastor, like you just all mouthing, just trying to tear me down with your words and stuff. And that hurted. It made me even going even in a lower place. It was just, it's a bad place to be.
I'm on Medicare. I check GoodRx because I can beat my copay. I'm gonna like that.
Yes, it's hard. My best friend was telling me, I would have just left. I wanted to. That day he tried to kill me, I called her crying, and I said, friend, please tell me it's okay for me to leave. She said, friend, you can leave. I said, I need you to tell me again, friend, tell me it's okay for me to leave. She said, friend, you can leave. I said, friend, tell me again. She said, friend, I'm here for you. If I got to come over there and move your stuff, friend, you can leave. Yeah. She said, you can leave. I needed to hear that. Because even though this person almost just killed me, I still didn't want to leave. My legs wanted to leave because I didn't want him to come back in there and finish the job. But the posture of my heart, it was still there. Well.